Hey everyone, my name's Tom. I'm a Scottish composer based in the UK, and welcome to my first kind of composer vlog, as it were. I've been a composer for like 20 years. I've been writing music professionally for like 12, maybe a wee bit longer. And I've written a lot of classical music in the past, stuff for the proms, quite a lot of stuff for the BBC, orchestras, ensembles, string quartets, choirs. That's kind of where my pedigree sort of is. But a lot of my output is for film, TV, library music, sync music, and I guess in this particular blog I'm going to be kind of focusing on that kind of part of my output. So welcome to my very, very small, tiny studio, keyboard, Presonus iStation. I do so much traveling, I've got to fit everything onto this MacBook. It's got loads of RAM, so it's absolutely fine. A couple of monitors, but I do most of my listening on these Shure headphones. So that's my kind of basic minimalist setup, which I find works for me. You know, it's what you're used to, which is more important. And I guess I'm kind of going to use this vlog as a sense to kind of show you what I'm writing just now, plugins I'm using, interesting kind of sounds I've maybe found, hints and tricks in the DAW, that sort of thing. And it's also a sense, it really helps me when other people hear my music. There's a weird psychological thing that when someone listens to my music and they're in the room with me, it sounds completely different. So I'm sort of using you guys as sounding posts almost. So let's get fired into this. This is a kind of cue that I'm working on just now. This is a stage that not many composers kind of show. This is very much the sketching stage. Where, you know, I've had one start, another false start, and then I finally decided that this is actually where the cue might actually kind of begin. But this is part of the process, where we move stuff around and bring different sections together. And yeah, this is raw. This is where it all kind of begins for me. I write most of my music, to be fair, at piano and manuscript, and I use Sibelius as well for a lot of it, and then use Logic to kind of move things around. But most of it begins at the piano. So this is for synths, electronics, percussion, brass, and strings, and I'm using a lot of Spitfire stuff. So most of the orchestra stuff is Spitfire, BBC SO Pro, Hans Zimmer percussion, some East West sounds, and then Spitfire Aperture stuff as well. And then I've got some stuff that I played in live as well. I always like to have live stuff in because it just takes it out of the box and makes everything just sound that little bit, makes everything sound real, which is the great thing about it. So I'm just going to play a few minutes of this cue, and then maybe break down each of the elements and see where we're at. So that's probably about all that I'm happy with so far. There's plenty of work to do with it. I should say this is completely unmixed. This is still just a sketch, really. It'll all be mixed and mastered properly later on. But for now, this is just it's kind of its rawest form. So let's just I'll just show you what I'm kind of working with here. So this is the kind of the synth world that we've got at the very beginning here. So as I said, I'm using a lot of Spitfire Aperture synths, and they sound just so good out the box. They're totally fantastic. Really amazing sounds that we're getting here, and then I'm putting quite a lot of effects on it, but that's in Earnest, which is one that I absolutely love. I could use Aperture all day. They're the best synth sounds that I've used for a long time. We've got some scoring synths in there as well, which I use mostly for basses and kind of rushes as well. So that's kind of synth kind of world, and then we've got some glitchy high percussion. So that's kind of present all the way through. A little bit later on, builds up a bit. So that's actually, I'm using live hand rubs and live shaker just to give it that sense of live coming in later. So that's kind of what's going on in the high percussion. Low percussion, we're using a combination of Hans Zimmer. So we've got some epic hits in combination with paper Juns, I think that's how you say them. And then we've got some low boons as well. So it's exclusively Hans Zimmer, not that I'm trying to be like him. That'd be nice though. But yeah, we're using the Spitfire Hans Zimmer percussion all the way through. So that sounds like this. Even just in the beginning there, totally unmixed, out the box, these sounds sound so great. They make our job so much more easy. Now this low siren sound, this is actually me playing a violin and then distorting it really heavily. Sounds like a chainsaw, and I love it for it. And later on. So again, it has that sort of sense of being kind of organic because I actually played it. Now, the strings, I'm actually using BBC Symphony Pro sounds, but the leader positions. So we're not using a whole section, we're using that really intimate, close, much grittier sound. So actually, if we listen to just the double bass alone, this gives such a great grit to it. This is fantastic. That sounds amazing. I love just the energy that sound gives alone. And then the cello sounds so realistic. So I love these intimate kind of string sounds. They kind of balance quite well. They really cut through when surrounded by this kind of wall of sounds. This is strings alone. So I think these, as I said, this has not been mixed at all, but out the box, the sound is pretty good. And then we've got the brass, which come in later on, which I'm just doing on one stem. So we've got 8 horns, the trombones and the bass trombones from Spitfire. That's the start of that. So that's the kind of different elements that I've got on the go in this piece. I'm really enjoying writing it. It's just a little kind of, I'm trying to write basically a piece every 3 days just now, and this is me kind of coming towards the end of this 3 days, just as it's new year, new me, keep on writing. In terms of just the mix has not been mixed at all, but I'm using a nice Altiverb reverb on everything. Basically just as it's a kind of placeholder reverb. I mean, when I come to mix it, there'll be 2 different types of reverb at least. I'll probably use a bit of Pro R on it as well, which I'm actually using here. Everything will be kind of nicely distorted in many ways, but this is not the final product at all. I mean, everything's kind of bust, but nothing's labeled correctly, nothing's colored properly, but this gives you a sense of how I kind of work. This is where I move things around in the DAW in this sort of sense. So yeah, I kind of hope this is sort of interesting, and you can hear hopefully what I'm able to create, just literally using my laptop more or less, and all these amazing libraries that I've fortunate enough to own. Yeah, so I hope this is sort of vaguely interesting to you. I'm going to try and do one of these sort of once a week, because it keeps me accountable as well. If I can kind of show you what I'm writing, even just listening to it there with the camera on, I can hear things which I didn't hear before, and I kind of find that really interesting. There's things that I want to change straight away because it sort of feels like someone else has heard it, and I think that's kind of the point of this almost. So yeah. Thanks very much for watching this first vlog. It was probably a complete mess because it's my first one, but hopefully it'll get better over time. And yeah, you can write in the comments any comments that you have, or questions about my process, or how I create sounds, or plugins that I'm using, or instruments that I'm using, or recording techniques, or anything like that. I'm really happy to get back to you. So yeah, thank you for watching, and see you next time.